What's up, everybody? Sean here with another live Live to Roll. Today, we're going to be hanging out, talking a little bit of money, financing, balancing your budget, all that stuff. So, if you guys have any questions or anything you want to comment or add to the discussion, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you for sure, and love to get some of your input. But yeah, so we'll get into it. I'm Sean. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident. Coming up on 22 years actually in a couple weeks. So almost 22 years ago. All right, Bobby, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Bobby. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I was born in Denver, Colorado. I was raised as a Bronco fan. I'm a diehard
You're
Bronco fan. I don't care about my spinal cord injury. I just care about the Denver Broncos beating the Buffalo Billy Goats this week. That's all that matters.
all right. I actually thought I honestly haven't been paying a lot of attention to football and stuff this season, but I was just looking. I was like, damn, the Broncos had the number one seed. I did not know they were number one seed in the AFC. I didn't know you guys had
Yeah,
that good of a year.
baby.
I haven't been following, so I did
Well,
see that. I did see that yesterday that the Steelers got knocked out. So, and that now
well,
the coach stepped down. I just saw the highlight of that. Got a little
I was just about to
notification.
tell you, you lost the coach. You
Yeah.
most likely lost your quarterback, which is no big deal. He wasn't all that great to begin with. A
No, yeah,
legend.
that I wasn't. I could care
He's
less
a
about.
legend. He's a legend. But I mean, and I won't. Hey, I wish uh, at my age back when I was 40 to do half of the crap he could. So I give him props. I'll tell you that.
I can tell you, I 43 right now, and I wouldn't want to be taking hits in the
Yeah,
NFL.
no shit. No shit.
But yeah. But anyways, guys, Mr. Bronco fan will be pretty pumped and happy, I'm sure, all week here. But but let's talk some finances. And the reason why I decided to go with this today is because I'm starting to try to have to manage my own finances and do a better job of it because I've done a very poor job of it for my entire life, I think. So Leah has been helping guide me in the right direction and steer trying to get the ship steered straight here. But I have made a lot of financial mistakes in my life, um, and yeah, just not really done very well to manage and budget money. But but so let's talk about that today because it is hard to live on a limited income, and I don't know, some people out there maybe live on Social Security, maybe you don't, maybe you did get a job, but even if you do, I love to hear from that and like how that's been. I know maybe Robert would have been a good person to have tried to invite to see like what he did just using working and kind of having to pay for his own health insurance and all that for a lot of years.
But he forgot to shave his head like I did today. So I understand, Crypto Rob. You got to look pretty, man. You got to look pretty before you get the camera. Um, yeah, he would have been good. And, thinking about it in a few ways, right? With benefits, living, and budgeting your income with a spinal cord injury. It's not easy, right? So, some of us are like you and I, Sean, we weren't set up with a career yet. We weren't in the workforce
Yeah,
fully. I mean, I was working, right? Yeah. Were you working at the time?
I was working. Yeah, I was actually working at well, it was Countrywide Home Loans, but they had Bank of America Home Loans that just bought the Countrywide, and they were in the middle of a transition. I actually had just gotten promoted a new job. I was switching offices the
Yeah.
weekend, so nobody even realized what happened because I had packed up my desk the Friday I got injured, and I was supposed to move to another office the next Monday, and I just never showed up because I had my injury that Saturday. So uh, so yeah, that was just like the my job called and was just like kind of wondering like what happened because I didn't show up for my new position.
Oh,
Um,
no.
but yeah, so that's but all the people that I was working with had no idea. They're like, wait, what? We thought he just transferred. um,
Okay,
but
yeah,
yeah, so
weird.
I was processing home loans actually. That's what I was just in the computer basically doing data entry, and entering home loans into the computer for what was Countrywide and then turned into Bank of America. But and then here I am 22 years later almost and trying to get my first home loan. Uh, so
Yeah, but you were just starting, right? And I mean, you didn't build up any kind of nest egg, and I think um, tell us where you were in life. I mean, I was in high school, so I had a job, but no, nothing in the bank. Every cent I made was spent on my bike or traveling for triathlons.
yeah, that's
So
a because you were 17. I was
mhm.
20, I just turned 21 a couple months before my injury. So I had been working for a few years, um, and then I had been at the Countrywide or the doing the home loan stuff for about a year there. Um,
I'm still having a hard time picturing that you behind a desk
in
and
a
like
cubicle.
maybe one day wearing a tie.
We didn't have to wear ties, but collared shirts were required. You did have to wear a collared shirt, a button-up shirt,
No, but
and
as
pants.
life
But
goes on and you start making your way up, Sean, eventually somebody goes, "You need to start wearing a suit and tie."
well, that would have been. I honestly, I, I don't. I was never very good at it, but as a 17 to 21-year old, I did fancy myself to be like going to be some sort of like entrepreneur going into business, like hustler. Like I was part of a full on pyramid scheme, like network marketing, this thing called 2x2.net. And it was like you had to buy in and then you sold. And if every two you sold under you, and it literally was a pyramid. And like I had all these friends that were into it and then got me into it. And then I didn't make anything on it because I'm not very good at sales. So it's just another financially poor decision.
So another financial loss is basically what.
Another financial loss, yeah. And that's one thing. So like even here, like modernly now with Live to Roll has never had a profitable year since turning it into a business in 2020. These the last 2 years, we have just broken even. Like we've based, we did 30 right now. I just did the budget. We actually are $34.77 above in the black for this year. So $34 profit for the year for
Right, but I'm still waiting for my royalty checks in the mail too. So
well
I
then,
don't know if
yeah.
you budget that into
Well,
your
all right.
finances.
I'll cut you in $34. Got we got. I'll factor how many people we got in the channel. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
split it
you
up.
got about a dollar, maybe $1.50 coming.
Hey, every cent counts in this at
Uh,
this time in life.
but that is why I do really appreciate like when people do donate to the channel and do those things because especially in the first years of Live to Roll, um, it wasn't like I just claimed losses on taxes to make sure I didn't pay taxes. Like I just spent I, way too much money trying to travel to all the different expos and pay for not myself and Tom and Brianna, and like those were huge bills. I The Chicago trip cost
And
more than the
who
entire
told
annual
you?
budget every single
Who
year.
who told you be careful?
Yeah, no, you did warn me. Yeah, no, Bobby was the only one that never went on any of them. Told me not. I should be careful. I should. No, I do. I should have probably listened to the little bit older like voices, like more smarter
Your older brother,
instead
buddy.
of like the younger just kids that wanted to hang out and party and travel. So, uh, so yeah, like I said, I can admittedly say that I've made a lot of poor decisions.
Mhm.
So, so that's what I'm trying now. This with these last couple years, and this year especially, like I actually just had to do like a profit and loss statement for the year and go through the entire, and everything for the year and stuff. And like, it, it is hard to actually face and look at when you're adding the numbers up, and that's why it's really kind of got me thinking like, okay, I have to like make sure to start making financially sound decisions, especially if we're trying to buy a house. And now my negative, the money losses in live to roll, although not actual debt at this point, because actually the last few $1,000s in debt that I had, Leah actually paid out of her own personal savings when she first kind of, when we first got married, just to help ease issues, and just get us back to zero. Uh, so so even without that, we'd probably even still be struggling to scrape back to the zero line. But yeah, that's it. It's important. It's really like it really is important to make good decisions on those things and not overextend yourself and not do things that could even affect your social security. Like, that's one thing that I obviously have always worried about, is just making sure I don't make money, because for my social security, and more so from like my Medi-Cal, my Medicare, my health insurance, like, because it's not like I get paid a ton of money from social security. And that's what we can talk about, is kind of how to manage that limited income. And that's one thing that definitely I have been helped with this last couple of years, and cut out a lot of things that were unnecessary expenses. I was spending almost $200 on subscriptions for just streaming subscriptions when we were first starting to date. Like, I had everything. I had Netflix, Paramount, HBO Max, Disney Plus. I had every single streaming service you could want. I was like, well, I want to watch that show. I want to watch that movie. So I would just sign up for the streaming service, like one after the other, and not cancel them and not do. So, yeah. um, but anyway,
Yeah, those will get you. And I mean, one, and this is kind of off topic because we're probably going to get into with more of your disability and finances and stuff like that. But somebody had told me like, oh, I only pay one a month. And what they do is then they binge watch everything they can on that, like let's say Netflix for that month. And then they cancel that one and then move to another one, say Disney Plus or whatever, and then get everything out of that one until they can catch up. I think, something like that they were telling me about. And uh, it does suck right now. Like my brother and I were sharing um, Netflix, and I shared him my Netflix. He shared me his Hulu, and now Netflix is finally like
yeah, they
cut my
tracked down.
brother out. Yeah, Hulu not. I still get his Hulu, so I felt bad, but he gets my HBO Max. So, and then we share for Disney's good, no problems. My aunt has like 15 people on there, and we all share. And Paramount Plus so far has been good with my cousin.
That's funny. Yeah, you got that's a group sharing of the things.
Yeah,
But yeah, I know a lot of times families and stuff do that. I've had family and friends offer to send
they,
their,
they're,
like,
I mean, now they charge you with those membership that you can do that, but it's a cap. But then they also charge you more, which is weird because I paid for the extra, to have four screens or whatever, but they still cut my brother out.
yeah, no, that is wild that that you paid for the
Yeah,
extra screens. But yeah, no. So that is one thing that we've even talked about. Like, that's what, like, when the Olympics were on, and maybe even for the Winter Olympics again. I don't know. We haven't talked about. I kind of forgot they were coming with everything going on, but we did like Peacock for like I think 2 months. So we could watch not only the Olympics but watch, like, we streamed a bunch of other stuff that was on there during those times, and then at the end of the time canceled it. And that is something we've talked about. Like, if I want to do a streaming subscription, just do like, one, and then do like a month of it, or watch what we can, and then like switch it, cancel it, whatever. But that's what I'm now working that into, if I want to in the future, a personal budget, which is, something that also Leah has helped me out with a lot, as far as putting together an actual budget, like what you can spend on this, what you can spend on this. Again, I learned how to do those things back when I first got a check checking account and a checkbook and learned how to balance my checkbook, but that was a long time ago, and I didn't ever really keep that into practice, and just lost any of those things of like really tracking my spending and stuff. Because, but oh, did we? Oh wow, we just got a super chat in there too. Oh
Yeah.
wow, thank you,
Yeah, that's a good friend of mine, Teresa,
Teresa.
and
Yeah,
thank you so much. She's part of our crew now. I would say she watches a lot, and then she's rewatching a lot of shows, and then she's like, "Hey, in this certain episode, tell me more about it." So it's really cool. Thank you. And Teresa just
yeah,
celebrated her life birthday just recently. She put out a awesome video that was amazing. And so let me know if I can send that to Sean, Teresa, and we can put it in this chat to share for people to check it out.
sure. Yeah, no, that's cool if she wants to. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I
that's
just thought you
always
should.
nice celebrating the life days. Appreciate that though. Thank you, Teresa. Really do appreciate that support and stuff. And I wasn't trying to like fish for super chats or anything. We're good with right now. Live to roll is, we're I do appreciate those things, but for right now, for the year, we are balanced, and hopefully this next year we'll continue to stay balanced and maybe even have a little bit more than the $34. So 68.
Absolutely.
There we go. We'll try to double for next year.
Woohoo.
um, and then yeah, I was gonna say I just also wanted to highlight Paul had mentioned in the chat right there. Highly recommended reading Wealthy Barber. He said new edition was released. It's a Canadian base, but general principles are universal. Yeah, I mean, general. I don't think it would be finances. I feel like pretty universal. So, all right, thanks.
Yeah, it's called Stop Ordering on Amazon and Everything Will Be Fine.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, Amazon is. It's so easy to start racking up money. Just clicking. They're just so easy to click to buy. That's another thing that yeah is good to live. That's right. Yeah, I used to compulsively buy stuff that I would end up not even using half the time. And I've done it a few times since we got like I keep saying I'm gonna help with stuff. I bought this duster and then never used it, and got a broom that I've used a few times and need to start. Never really. So I still have some of those bad habits, but I'm working on
About the duster.
it.
Oh,
But yeah, but yeah, that's another one. Those are things that are just so easy to start spending on, and people don't realize how fast and how easy. Like,
well, compared to the other, I guess the older days and for us living with a disability, the click is easy. Ordering that stuff is easier. And we're always trying to make our life a little bit easier. There's I was trying something with my colostomy. I noticed that the bag, when I have it on, where it sits on my stomach, hangs, and it hangs down a little bit lower than my waist, right? And so usually what I'll do is tuck it in the morning. So kind of tuck it into my pants. But what that does is it kind of pulls it down. So it's kind of making it, you know, pull the bag away from my skin a little bit. So if I don't do that, I fold the bag underneath and then my t-shirt's over it. It's good. It's not pulling anymore. But I noticed throughout the day, it kind of flips out. And I'm like, ugh, ugh. So, at the door this morning was Amazon, but it was double sided tape. And literally, like minutes before this started, I was in the bathroom trying it for the first time. So I had the scotch tape. In fact, and here's the problem with Amazon on some things too. Here's the other three rolls of double sided tape. As you can see, I didn't use it. And sucks. It's not as sticky and holding. It pins it up, but it would be easy to come off. So I mean, it's those things that I'm bad at Amazon too, but it's those things I kind of get um, on Amazon to buy for quicker solutions to make my life easier. And my wife was watching me, and she just walked away. She goes, you know, "You're funny. You're always thinking. You're always thinking." I forget she said it. Um, she said something else, but something in the terms of just like you are determined. Oh, I've never met somebody so determined. That's what she said.
Yeah, no, I know that one. That is like it's good. You're trying. You're trying to do it.
Equals.
Big, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know if I would
yeah.
recommend
I can see this angry quiet. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Pop. Got it.
that. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a very recommended.
No. I
Uh,
like I like with the way you're thinking though.
yeah, and then, also, I just was gonna mention. I want to get to the question real quick, but also Nicole had just put in there, know your needs versus your wants when it comes to finances, and that
Mm,
is important. That's like something that I feel like that's one of my struggles that's been
mm.
like forever is yeah, figuring out what is the needs and the wants. But the one of the first questions that came in, and I wanted to make sure to get back to because I do have it highlighted, and then somebody else asked something similar to just a minute ago. But also, Ryan earlier asked Abel Roth wealth savings accounts. Which ones do you all utilize? Why and how? And I think for most people living on disability, Able is pretty much your main option. I believe because any of the other ones, and I don't know though. So I actually that'd be a good thing to actually try to maybe research and have somebody that knows more that kind of works in
I
there or
know we do need to find somebody, and that was a bummer that we didn't get somebody
because
set up
I
on
do
that.
want to have a show specifically on able accounts even like so that's something. Yeah, and we will this year at some point. So with, yes,
Yeah,
with that $34 we're gonna start one. I'm gonna start
yeah, and
uh,
and I didn't have and I luckily don't have to use that. Um, I've been honest here. I don't say it often, but my injury, I did receive a settlement. It wasn't huge or anything that was going to take care of me the rest of my life. That's for sure. It got me started in my first house. Um, but before I got my first house, I had to go find a job, and I worked my ass off, and I found a really good job that paid very well for 5 years, like more than I can ever ask for somebody who didn't have a college degree, and had a scholarship to USC. And I'm looking around and working my ass off, and then talking to these people wanting to go to USC. It was one of my dreams. I always wanted a scholarship there, and I got one for athletics. And they're like, whenever you're ready, it's here, full ride. And I was working, and then I went to this banquet one night, and it was a bunch of grads of USC and those who got this scholarship fund. And they said, I was like, "Oh, what do you do now?" And they're like, "Looking for work." I'm like, but didn't you graduate like 6 months ago? Yeah, can't find work, can't find work. Everybody was like, I just stuck to my job, and I had it. Let's see here, 7 years. And I just, my sales were awesome. I was making good money. It all went in the bank, and that helped me survive. So I've never had to live off, thinking about able accounts. And even after that company shut down and I wasn't doing the sales there, I was picked up by another company that I didn't care for much, but they were paying me the same amount. Um, and then finally, I worked for the hospital that went way down. But my wife said, hey, I'm bringing in the fair amount, so it's your turn to do something that you enjoy. And so that's that's for me. So I don't know what it's like. And I wish we could have found somebody that could be on here to tell more about it. I know, Sean, you do. So I'm going to shut up and maybe you can talk about it more, uh, about, your travels and your journey of living low income.
Yeah, I mean, I can, and I'll real quick. Just Leah had already answered in the chat a little bit about the able accounts, but somebody had just asked. I think it was Living and Active asked. Yeah, he already said thanks, but yeah, able accounts for anybody that doesn't know are just their accounts that are actually specially made for people living on disability that got their injury or their disability before. I believe before it used to be like 25 or a kind of a younger age, but now they've just moved it. So I think like 45 or I think it's 45 or 50 even maybe now. So like pretty much if you had any type of injury, disability in your life before that age, you can create one of these counts to save for like a house or a car, and that doesn't affect your Social Security, disability, income, and benefits.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, but for my journey, I, I'll be honest. Like I was just turned 21 when I got hurt. When I got out of the hospital, I actually already had a bunch of like I had started collecting my state disability checks they had stacked up. Like I had a bunch, I had like I don't know, a few $1,000s from that. Social Security started shortly after, and then they also was back paid. So like I just had like money at first, and I when I was working, I had a full time job and I was working before, but but I wasn't saving much, so I think I had some money in my account. But I also owed like almost $2,000 on a Bank of America credit card at the time I got injured. So I had debt and then instantly was on disability. So and then I ended up again with like I think like over $800,000 in medical debts because I was on my dad's insurance and that capped at I think it capped at like 1.5 million or something like that. It was I thought I was like, oh, they told me that in the beginning, like, and I was like, how would I cap that? And then like a month before I was
Very
supposed to go
easily.
home, they're like, oh, you're capped. Like yeah. So like so I had a ton of hospital bills when I got out of the hospital, which those were I emailed most of them. I was able to like in contact with most of the companies. A lot of them forgave the debts, and then the ones that didn't, I just didn't pay, and I had shitty credit for those years, and I have defaulted on like a $500,000 in uh in hospital like health insurance debts and hospital debts.
Sean,
After the
this is how
hospital.
it happened. You said, I have a headache, and they gave you two aspirin, and there's your debt right there.
That is.
Plain and simple.
Yeah,
You
because it
know
adds up
everything
quick.
about
Because I had a
hospitals.
helicopter ride from like I had my surgery. I was in ICU for 3 weeks. Like I had some pretty major bills that added up like really fast. And then obviously living in the hospital. I lived, at Northridge Hospital for 2.5 months almost there.
Yep.
So like, yeah. So I came out of the hospital and injured like I had these checks and I had money. I was young, irresponsible, and I did not pay any of my back bills. I got those ones written off I could. The rest I just said, screw it. I was like, what are they going to care about $1,800 when I have a 500,000 in other debt? I was like, who gives a shit about the Bank of America one? I was like, and they were just like, told me, they'd never give me another credit card, which now they give me credit card offers. But
Funny how that happens, huh? Okay, we're fine with it now.
but yeah, so that's like I honestly, like I said, super irresponsible. Used that money, and then basically just like lived off my disability and lived off my dad. He built an accessible room and bathroom for me on the side of the house. I can use it because it was a 3-car garage, so they were able to like take the third car garage part and convert it into a room and put a bathroom on there and everything. But then after my dad passed away, again, I got hit with like okay, now I'm I think I was what maybe like 27 I think or something. So still
Mm.
young and pretty irresponsible. Um and uh and I got told by my stepmom like she gave me almost a year after my dad passed to like figure my stuff out and live there cuz she had stuff to figure out. But then she was going to start selling a house. So like 6 months after he passed, she told me like you're gonna have to go. Like I'm selling the house, so figure something out. So that was when I kind of like maybe had to figure out financial responsibility. But again, I didn't really do a responsible thing. I kept living off of that, and I figured out how to be able to make cash and live with a brother. And I mean, at this point, I don't really care. There's no statute of whatever, and I did it fairly legally. I had a doctor prescription for growing, but I grew weed for almost 10 years. Like that's how I made my money. So I all cash business, all cash value. I went and paid my rent in cash. I'd go down, get a cashier's check, give it to my landlord, and it was just an entirely cash business. So never did anything.
Sean, I still don't know how you did that cash bat business because Sean, when he was living with his brother, I would say to Sean, text me or call me. And he goes, well, kind of hard because I have this flip phone and the top part is not working anymore. So
Oh, I
I
remember
can
that.
only use, do you remember that? I'm like sitting there staring at his phone going, how do you function? He goes, it just, some of it works, I think. I mean, how long did you go with that flip phone with no top part?
Probably a couple months. I don't. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I
so
mean,
long.
one day too long. Let's just put it that way, Sean.
And I'll tell you, you know how hard it is to text and things on a flip phone with the buttons. You got to like
Yeah, there's
push it in
three
the
of
other.
them, and if you're too slow on one, it goes to the end. And you're like, no, I wanted the O.
Uh, yeah, that's that was honestly a pretty pain in the ass back then, and then I did get the smartphone stuff. But yeah, like like you said, I wasn't very good with managing a lot of my life, finances and otherwise. I really, like I got by. I am fortunate enough that I've been able to kind of skate by and make it. So, uh, but yeah, that's what I did. That's how I survived for so many years, and then that kind of eventually did fail because once recreational um, cannabis became legal in California here, the medical market just completely dropped off, and I didn't have the ability to scale up to what the recreational like warehouse growers were doing anymore. Like I fit in a world that didn't exist anymore. So basically, like I struggled to where I was losing money every month at that point, even still at the end of it. So like I basically was just eating any money and any savings that I had just to pay the rent and like stay in the house, because the same thing I was getting, like I was basically getting like 3 times less than I was for the same products I was making, previously. So like the same stuff I was growing, the same amounts was yielding like a third of what it did for the first
It's
years.
so funny. During that time, I was hanging around a bunch of surfers, older, about 12 to, a lot of them were about 12 to 15 years older than me, longboard surfers. They'd always invite me to their brunch after they surfed. And because I knew one of their friends, and then we used to do men's night, movie night sometimes, and they would all smoke out before the movie. But they kind of adopted me, and so they were all talking about, vote yes, make pot legal. And I'm like, you guys don't want that. Like, yes,
Yeah,
we do. And I'm like, you guys are going to pay so much more. Just be happy with your medical card and going in there and paying no taxes. And after they were all happy it passed, and then like a month later, we're all at breakfast one day, and they're like, damn, you were right, Bobby. We pay a lot more for our weed. It was just, it just made me funny. But
yeah, that's what's funny is all the people doing the production of the weed, the growers, they got paid way less. The wholesale product was way down, but all the taxes and the fees and things actually increased the price for the consumer. So yeah, that's why
and
now.
still,
And
my road sucks behind me. It's all chopped up. The public road behind me is so bad, can't get it paid,
yeah, yeah,
but everybody can pay taxes on weed.
yeah. So that's exactly. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I did. And then, and to be completely honest, from there, I once I lost that house and couldn't no longer like afford to do it and moved out. That's when I moved in with my grandma and again had to live off of family, essentially like because I couldn't really afford like a full rent at like on my own place or like somewhere like that. So my grandma did get rent and things like that for my IHSS money and stuff, but like so she did collect things for the bills and helped out. But I didn't like I basically lived off my social security that entire time. I didn't that all just went to that stuff and whatever else um, so so yeah, that's why pretty much I I literally
Well,
have been sort of, and that's why starting Live to Roll, and I appreciate that Leon put in there in the chat that starting Live to Roll was my destiny, and yeah, when I first started Live to Roll, I just did it as a fun way to show my transfer because every time somebody saw it, especially other quads, we'd be like, "What the hell?" Like, and
and
the only other person.
that was before people were really trying to build it for that. I mean, now
And yeah,
it's
that was before. That was
Instagram.
over 10 years ago now when I first posted that actually. I just actually got a little notification. I think one of my videos is like 10 years old, like I think whatever just hit like so like it was like one of the earlier ones I did on I think transferring or something a bed or getting to bed or something. But yeah, so like that was, it wasn't originally meant to be this, but then once obviously all that stuff faded away, and I kind of did start doing a lot more like with Triumph and within the disability community. That was I had started going to a lot of the different groups, basically going to every single event that there was happening on a given weekend for like a couple of years, and then that's when I really was just like I love giving back to this community. I love being part of the community. Um, and like being some like feeling like I'm contributing to something versus like just doing kind of my
Well,
own
and
little. So
that's why for 10 years or 15 years, I worked at Rancho, and I had just gone back on my Medicare and Social Security, and I finally landed the Rancho job. But I kind of was starting to feel my body out, going, I don't think I can pull in that 40 hours a week. I just, my body just doesn't feel like it. I spent all this time to get back on Social Security because I had it just before I was working in my teens. And 19, meaning I got on Social Security and Medicare at 19 and then had to quit when I was 22 and when I started working. So it was a pain in the ass. So I was able to collect my Social Security as long as I didn't make, and I had SSI, not no SSDI. I had SDI, where I can still collect up to $1,000 per month. So I was working a job where even though I was pulling in 32 hours a week, um, I was only getting paid minimal. I mean, meaning because I would tell her I only worked to make $999. If I made $1 over that, $1,000, I could not get paid by Social Security. They would cut me off.
wow, yeah,
One
you really got to
one
make
month
sure.
they would cut me off. So every month I had to just turning hours for that, and so all the other times were just volunteers. But I still had Medicare, my insurance, because this job didn't was a contractor job and didn't come with benefits. So that was
Yes.
the thing. I want to put this out, and my new buddy Skippy, who is ChatGPT, but I call him Skippy. Um, and it comes from a book that I love. Um, I just said, hey, Skippy, wanted to get some more information about living on a budget with spinal cord injury. It said, hey, Bobby, living on a budget with spinal cord injury is one of those things nobody hands you a manual yet for. Yet everybody expects you to magically figure it out. Fun system, huh? Anyway, here's the real world breakdown minus motivation posters nonsense. Because because I told my chat GPT to make yourself witty and funny. So that's where you get that, fun system, huh? So the first thing it talks about is that you need to start worrying about is your benefits and income. So when you get hurt, you know, benefits and incomes are the first thing. If you qualify for SSI, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, blah blah blah, there are no handouts for these things. You might have a good social worker that could help you figure some of these out, but sometimes you're newly injured and it's just going over your head. You're just like, am I going to be able to work or go back to my job? Who's going to pay my bills? And they're telling you about all these benefits you can apply for if you qualify. You don't know. Second thing on living with a financial thing is housing, right? You might have been living with your parents. You might be living with a wife or a partner. You might be, just in your own apartment, whatever it is. Is it accessible? So this is usually the biggest budget killer. Accessible housing costs more because of the world still present pretend stairs are personality traits. If possible, living somewhere with existing accessibility saves massive retrofit cost.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's third is our medical and equipment costs. So our urologicals and our wheelchairs, right? Our wheelchair should cost just as much as a bicycle when you go there, but obviously it doesn't.
Yeah,
Fourth,
that's another thing I want to mention real quick
go
too.
ahead.
Is the other thing that's really helped me in these last couple of years is starting to actually utilize getting my medical equipment and costs paid for. That was something I used to buy all my own leg bags. I was even buying my own catheters from my urologist. She never told me, "Oh, I'll just charge your insurance." She literally, I was buying them by the case, like 20 at a or 10 I think in a case at a time, and I'm like, and
Well,
never told me that, never said that. Another reason why I wanted to switch urologist, but stuff like that, and now getting all these things covered, those are that's you're right, as that is just a major expense. So, um,
yeah,
but yeah, so
and
go ahead. The next one, the transportation, I know is the next one.
transportation. You know what that everybody knows transportation. What the fuck costs it is. Sorry for my swear, but yes, it's a lot. So then some we were kind of talking about it is daily living costs, right? I mean, I was just talking about some things that I buy just to make my life a little bit easier, right? But there's also the recreational stuff. The bike back there. There we go. Bike
Yeah, I
back
see.
there. Those don't grow on trees. Luckily, there's grants. I got grants for those, uh, but you it just if you want to do it where you didn't go through the grant system, or you want a trainer, or there's just cost out there, and that I'm not accessible bed, um, accessible rams, everything just cost. And then six, it says work and side income. If you can work at all, even part of the time or project based, it helps mentally and financially. Just be careful with benefits income limits so you don't accidentally get punished for trying. Just kind of like what I was telling you about how I kept my Medicare and my Social Security by not going over this certain amount.
Yep.
And that was by me going into my Social Security office and every time going, okay, I heard it changed, it's going up. Where am I now? And by the time I was done working, I was able to make up to $1,700, um, and then get paid my regular Social Security.
Oh, yeah, that's
And luckily it came out to over a little over $3,200.
Yeah, that's not too bad, especially like some years ago that you could. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
it's
but
still low
all of
income,
that
but
was, what the really that was is for me to have a secondary insurance almost, or half of it through my wife's work.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and now I pay more than half just to have a secondary, because I pay for a secondary. I don't rely on my Medicare because Medicare only pays 80%. Everything after that is 20%. So I pay, for the secondary.
Okay, so that's cool. So you do pay for like a secondary supplemental
Yeah,
insurance.
which sucks. The secondary is good. I mean, it just sucks. I have to pay for it, but it would also suck if I had to pay the 20% too. So no matter what, you might as well bend over and take it. And sorry for that. I just had to say it, but
It's all right.
sorry.
I
I
think
don't
most
mean
people
to
would agree
interrupt.
that that's kind of how a lot of the stuff is.
No, I know, but it's
But yeah, no, I do know that there's like work programs because even for people like not with just spinal cord injuries, other like physical disabilities. Like I have my uncle lives on disability as well. He had traumatic brain injury when he was young, and it caused a lot of issues and things. But he has worked for most of his life. But same thing, he's been able to. He works, stays under his limits. He works to supplement his income, supplement his social security, and he actually just retired. But he had worked for like 30 years, um, and was able to do that and stay like at the same job. And he had like a good part-time job that he was able to do. So I know that's a good option for people if you can. Just make sure you do like Bobby said, like and, and the AI there. Just make sure you don't go over your limits. Know what your limits are. You know, check and find out like with whatever
um,
you are on. So
I just want to make sure Jeanette, our good friend Jeanette, said she left I guess, on the link. So she left a link where you can put different scenarios in your area with benefits to see what you will gain or lose. Did that go through on
no,
the chat side?
and
So,
you'll have to show Jeanette. You'll have to either like text or email one of us to send it to us. And also, same with Teresa earlier. I think she tried to put the link to the video in, but it won't. I well, it won't take a link into the chat. I think, but we can put one in. So if you want, send them to Bobby or I, and you can add it to the description right after the show when we wrap up here in a few.
um, I think Eric, I don't know if you're asking me about Cal Optima or Sean. I didn't qualify for it. And then I'll be right back. I'm going to run. Leon had just a total side mark of demonos. I knew it. I think it looked like demons or something like that. And I'm like, maybe you're talking about demonos. Do I generally take? I'm just going to run and show everybody because since I've been taking this for now 2 years, I don't have any bladder issues. I get UTIs. Not saying I don't, but they're so easy to manage. Where I haven't had to take any antibiotics over 2 years now for them. So knock on wood.
Yeah, no, that is really good. And that's where I've been at too. No antibiotics, no UTIs last 2 years. And Eric, I don't know what is the Cal Optima. I'm actually unfamiliar. So I don't know if you can put any information. I can try to check it out and look it up. But yeah, I'm curious. And then Jay put 500 milligram of D-monos every day. I actually take about 1,000 milligrams of D-monos a day. Um, but I've always done about between like the 500 and 1,000. And then also I forgot there was a couple of chats I wanted to highlight. Somebody just said, oh yeah, real quick, just to answer a side note. Living and Active asked me if I'm in a like have a recline feature or some kind of what kind of chair I'm in. but I'm actually just in my regular chair. It doesn't have a recline feature. It just has a sling soft backrest that's a little bit low, and I dip way down into it. But I would lose my balance back, but I keep my hand under the desk, my other one hand to like help pull myself forward, or I use my wheel and the desk. But I will sometimes lose my balance backwards. It's kind of hard to get back up if I don't. But yeah, that's my low blood pressure kind of adjustment. All right,
So
Humanos.
it's Demonos and cranberry.
Okay, I've done one of those before that had the mix.
Yeah, and this one says 13 mg, and I don't know if I take it. It says take 2 capsules daily with a meal, and you want to know what I do it with? Or I mean, I do not two, I do four. I do two in the morning and two at night. So I
Okay,
do two around 11 a.m. and then two around bedtime, and my bedtime is like 7:30, 8 o'clock. If I'm lucky, I try.
and do you know what your milligrams are for those for like when you take two? Because they're all different. That's why. Um,
Well, I think each one is 13 milligrams. Says 1300 mg, and this one is with cranberry.
Does it
It's
say on the back? Does it say how many per dose or per serving? Because that's how many it'll be to be the 1300. Sometimes they're two or three. Because that's what I've gotten ones where it'll say like 1500, but that's like with three pills is like your dose. So it's like 500 a capsule.
it's for two. Two
Okay,
is
so two.
13.
So yeah, so two is about 13. Okay, so yeah, you're taking like 1300 morning and night. So you're taking a pretty good amount.
I doubled it. I double it.
I
And
see
if
that
I
Jeanette just sent the link. So I will add
yeah.
it to the description in just a minute here after we wrap up the show in a little bit. And Eric said Medi-Cal was what he was trying to say. Um, oops, sorry, I was trying to go back and find.
Oh, and then Teresa, it was her life birthday, and everybody needs to check out this video. She sent me the link to it, and I'll send it over to you, Sean. So I want to put that up. So if you're watching this later on, or now, remember to come back after the show and take a look at this incredible video she put together. Double down, Bobby. Yeah, it might not be fully recommended. I'm not going to say it's not. I told my urologist about it and showed him when I did it. This one is made by Purely Holistic, um, and he just went, "Have you felt any effects by it?" And I said, "No." There are 240 vegan capsules in the bottle, just what I've been taking, and it seems like I notice at the end of the day when UTIs, I might have a small one. I'm just like, "Ooh, I know I have something," and doing a little bit of water and an aspirin. I usually take two Advil, and I haven't had in 2 years. To think that I had to go and put in a sample.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, so I mean, if it's working, it's working. Um, the only thing I think is like just as long as it's not and I don't know that those are like a lot of supplements that it's hard on your body to like just pee out the additional supplement. I don't know how Dumanos is
I
if
think
it's
that's what it's 10 for, to get in your bladder and pee it out.
well that I
So
guess that's what it's for.
yeah, that I don't think cranberry and that is very hard on your system. So unlike if you were doubling up on something else that like your vitamin D or and I don't even know about that. You still always want to be safe and take the recommendation dose. And if you're not, make sure you talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah, no, definitely try to talk to a doctor if you are, yeah, changing or doing stuff and increasing anything like that or anything. Um, Sorry, I was just going through some of the past questions and things to make sure because we are getting towards the end. I wanted to
What
put
would happen if you got a UTI, never got it treated? What would it turn into? Will it kill you or make you feel super ill? That's all depending on the UTI. Your body is a fighting machine, but it can lose, and that's UTIs. Um, can defeat you and can probably kill you at the end. At the if it gets too out of hand, and that's where it goes into the bloodstream. Once it goes into the bloodstream, that's where you come into that factor. But if you think you have a UTI, it doesn't always need to be treated with antibiotics. You can fight a UTI on your own. And the body is actually going to build up tolerance to UTIs if you can do that. Um, it's not easy, and it's something that you should be in communication with your doctor when fighting, because he'll tell you when he thinks that you should come in and get some antibiotics, or when you should fight it. You go by how the symptoms are feeling and how everything is going for you with is it clearing up? Are you feeling a little better today? Those kind of things. But if it's starting to do where it's progressing downward, then yes, you want to get antibiotics. And yes, if you let it get really out of hand, it can kill you. But for the
yeah.
most part, uh, if you have a small one and you think like you do have one and you don't treat it, it's not saying bad, but you got to understand your body. You got to know your body.
And that's what
And
Leon also mentioned in there too. An untreated UTI can mess with the brain because you can't. But that's when I think you're starting to get
yeah, it can
sepsis.
make you
Like
really lethargic. Yeah,
once,
because you
yeah,
got
once
to.
it's hitting your body like that, you you 100% need to get antibiotics. That's where you should have gotten your doctor. But yeah, no, typically you can, try to flush it out like extra cranberry, Demonos, water. That's what I think a lot of us do. But yeah, if
Mm.
you're starting to get symptoms like that, uh, go to the hospital. If you're having any effect like that, delirium, or something along those sorts, from that. So yeah,
The blood pressure meds are good right now. The main one that helps my heart from when I had that episode 3 years ago. No, I think it was. Jeez. Um, where I built up fluid in my heart and gave me AFib. And the main one that treats it brings my blood pressure down. And so I have to take a downer and an upper, which is so weird. Good so far. It's good. I don't like the mornings because my mornings are um, a little bit on the high side. But as I talk to my doctors, my cardiologists, and my infectious disease doctors, they're like, never take your blood pressure first thing in the morning. You're not going to get a good reading. Um, so I don't worry. I wait until I've been up for over an hour, and then I take it, and it's normal. And then I eat one little bite of something, and it's super low.
yeah, no, that's it in the morning. Yeah, it's typically, especially after uh,
Yeah.
getting up. Yeah, all those things adjust and change, and
Oh
they
yeah, that's
fluctuate everywhere.
Jay's. It's my grandpa acts like he has Alzheimer's when he has a UTI app, and the older you get, that is just like a common thing. Like many geriatric patients, that's all that once they get it. It was my mom too, my grandma, my uncle. They had UTI as well, unfortunately, in their last month, and grandma was like, wow, what's up with all these cats on my bed? And we're all looking at each other. And my uncle could have sworn, why is that gal with the black hair in our room? Is she going to put clothes on? But, that was my uncle. He saw everything with naked eyes. And then my mom kept thinking there was, the dog next to her, a couple dogs. And I always kind of thought it was our older dogs that we've had growing up, and they were with her before her last week of passing.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is definitely like real. Like he said, I actually didn't really know that was a thing that happened until fairly recently, this last year, that you could get delirium. And the first time I ever really had seen something like that in somebody that had a UTI. And it is definitely, yeah, that is scary. And yeah,
So
it
yeah,
is.
when I had my really bad one, it was right after Trump won the first election, and my wife is not a fan of his, and so she was very vocal about it, and I was the one that she was vocal to. So I had to deal with this and going, oh my gosh, and she's into politics. She loves everything about politics, reads everything. Um, I live in this room because politics are on out there. So I could care less about either. I'd like to be informed, not saying that. But I had a bad UTI in the hospital and thought Donald Trump violated my body. I love that laugh there. My
That's
wife
pretty
got a
funny
kick
because
out
yeah, you have it, you're hearing it, you're seeing it's like what's around you, and then yeah, your head. It's wild what the brain can do. The human brain is truly an incredible
of it. It was
thing.
like, oh god. When I came out of that, she goes, "What was all that talk with Trump violating you?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah." So yes, be careful with the UTI. I'll tell you that. So
Yeah, no, I know. That's see that, and I am fortunate. I've actually never, I don't think, had, not to my recollection at least, had full like a delirium issue. So I
can't
guess I
believe,
have been very fortunate in my life
I
to not
can't
have
believe I
that.
just
But
mentioned that. I, something about a podcast will just make you say true things. I don't know. Jesus
I know
Christ.
that's what this is. We both been. I hope the IRS doesn't ever watch this, or or anybody that wants to judge. But yeah, no, that's pretty funny. But yeah, but yeah, that's something serious. I know that kind of shifted from finances to the bladder stuff, but it is super important. That's something we talk about on here all the time. And
Yeah,
yeah,
this is the
that's
beauty of our
real.
show.
So
Yep, beauty of our live to roll. Our favorite thing is to have open discussions. But it seems like more when we have a good discussion going. It sometimes flips because you guys are great with these questions in there, and I love you to death for them because keep bringing them on because that's my favorite part about this show.
yeah, no, I know it is. That's engaging and hanging out with everybody in the chat and like getting some of those funny questions and comments and things like that's it is the best thing. So that's what and I feel like that just helps like we are more trying to be definitely more of like authentic and not sugarcoat things or not, everything isn't all like glorious and great. Everything is also not doom and gloom. We got to live in the balance of life and be open and real about everything. So even if that's being violated by Donald Trump. All right,
I do.
let's
I
start to
do
wrap
have
up.
one last thing to say before we
Okay.
wrap this up because it's super exciting news, and I am excited because I watched this channel, and if you haven't watched it, besides Live to Roll, Rob and Tara, you must check out his channel. He puts out some great content. I can't wait to ask him all the questions I have for him from watching his channel, especially his music that he has in the background. It's just like whew, it's awesome. We get to have him on next week. So Rob and Tara are going to be joining us. Super excited. Rob, I got your email, so I'm going to be emailing you and giving you the link. And I can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I'm really looking forward to having him on because I know, yeah, we've been Robin Terra there have been a big part and supporters of Live to Roll for quite a while now. So I really do appreciate all their support, and it'd be super cool to actually have him on the show and have Rob and be able to talk to him and yeah, go ahead and promote everything they're doing too. That's what we want to do
Mhm.
is highlight all the other cool people that are doing cool stuff in the community out there.
Yeah. There he is, Rob. Yes, I saw
Right
you
there.
earlier. I wasn't sure if you were still here. So, yeah, can't wait. Super excited. I was watching a couple of his videos this morning, and super curious about your transfer on that commode chair. That was like amazing. So keep up the good work, Rob. We'll have you on next week, and super excited. And also, I want to say one last big thank you to a good friend of mine, Teresa. Happy life birthday, and thank you so much for that super chat. Much appreciated to the channel.
Yeah, Teresa, thank you. Do appreciate that. And thank you on. She said that I got usually just everybody says Leah has a great laugh, but she said both of us have great
Well,
laughs. So I appreciate
it's even 10 times better because it's in this background and we see her on the chat, but all of a sudden it just kicks in the background drop as a
no, I know, and it's funny. I like it. So, um, uh, all right, guys. I guess we could go ahead and try to wrap up the show here then. Today, I hope that I know we didn't have too detailed of information. I think it was a lot of more just personal, kind of
well,
sharing a
I'm
lot of
gonna
our journey and things. And
yeah, and I'm gonna if you want three things you have, and I'll remind you, but three things I will put in the chat is the video of Teresa that she put together for her anniversary, and it is an awesome one. Number two, um, Jeanette shared a great link to us. I didn't take a look at it yet, what the link was called, but super excited to share that link. It's on disability and benefits by putting in some numbers, and I'm sure there's a lot of great information. It's Disability 101 US. So,
actually,
disabilities 101, choose your state. So, I think that will be a helpful link that will be provided for everybody. And then the third one is holy crap,
well,
just
there's
slipped my mind.
actually, while you think of it real
Go
quick,
ahead.
there's actually one that I already have in the chat and almost forgot to mention. Um, but Nicole Lay in the chat, she's her for NAMI, the peer-to-peer counseling is coming up, and we are actually going to take part in it. We are going to be there. So yeah, just check that out. I have the link in the description below. It's like a peer-to-peer counseling thing, mental health courses for adults. Um, and honestly, it will be really cool and really want to support Nicole because she's awesome and supports us as well. So
We got to have
yeah,
her
so
on
check
soon.
that out. Yeah, no, I know we do have to have Nicole on soon too. We'll definitely get her scheduled and on this year for sure, sometime soon here. But yeah, I wanted to share that one too because I almost forgot. That is already in the description, so I will add these other few, the Jeanette's link and then Teresa's video link, and then whatever. What's the third one? I forget now too.
Oh, well, okay. So, and then the last one is, Skippy. I asked Skippy about those things about your benefits, and take a look at it. Open it up, and you can just see the general layout. There is something else coming up. I was a little bit worried that it's coming up sooner than later, but it is coming up later. Is Medicare is changing some things that will be happening with the ostomy and colostomy supplies, meaning you're not going to get a choice anymore. They're going to choose it for you, which means it's going to be the cheapest thing they can find and they'll cover. And some of us use supplies that will benefit. So it's just telling it. I gave a little bit of an overlay that it's not going to take place until 2028. So I caught wind of this. Actually, my wife, who listens to political news all day, that I said, I caught wind of this, and it's something that's going to be major. That's going to start January 1st of 2028.
Okay. Yeah, I will have to find out more about that too, but that's really good to share and get the information out there for people. Um, so yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks, Bobby, for checking that out. Thank you guys, everybody who's watching. We really appreciate you guys. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to thank our sponsors real quick. We're wrapping up here. Do appreciate our sponsors very much because they are actually what does keep all the operating costs of Live to Roll
That's how
going.
you made your hundred,
That's how I made
hundred,
my
and
$37
yeah,
was
there you go.
for the year. We made $37 because that's family. I only made half of that, so that's why your dividends are only coming out of my half. So, oh, never mind. She's giving dividends too.
You
But
can send it to
we
me in
do.
an Amazon gift card.
um, but yes, we do really appreciate our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. Mobility professionals is local to Southern California. They are a DME. So if you need any type of like a new wheelchair or standing frame, commode, any of those type of major equipment devices, and you're here in Southern California, give them a call. They'll help get you measured. They'll come to you, get you all set up, get insurance and everything worked out as long as they can take your insurance. But give them a call. They're great people. And then Urology Professionals is their sister company, all within the same house, but they're nationwide and can ship catheter supplies anywhere in the country. So that is anyone in the U.S. looking for your catheter supplies. Please give them a call. I will make a side note. Somebody mentioned in the chat they don't actually do suprapubic style catheters. They do more of the Foley condom catheters, things like that. And they also, I believe, do the colostomy supplies as well. But if you're someone like myself that uses the and Bobby that uses the suprapubic, you may have to find someone else. But that's just how things go. Hopefully,
They
we'll,
can. I wish they could service everybody because they are a great company, but they also have only so many contracts and do have to watch their because they don't order in the volume at some of these other major ones that get the better discounts.
yeah, I know. So that's the thing is all those things. But and so that's the things. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to get that out. But they are great companies that really do support the community, the sport, just uh, pretty much everything they can out in Southern California. They go sponsor all kinds of events and donate to most everything and keep us floating too. So we really appreciate our sponsors and their support. All right, and then lastly to mention before we go, oh, I don't have it on this one. Whoops. Oh, that's why I'm using the wrong overlay. There we go. Same overlay minus the thing, and now I got the banners. uh, but yeah, Bobby will actually be back on Thursday for a rolling over the hill with the guys. They're coming. You guys have anything specific you're working on or talking about on Thursday here?
We'll have an open discussion right for our first one, and then later in the month we'll have a topic. So come hang with us, chill like we're doing today. We'll probably carry over some of the discussion that we had today
Yeah, it's
and
good.
other things like that. So come in, drop those questions. We'll have a little bit more time where it's just a little more loose, and love to see everybody in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be a good, fun show, and that would be good if you guys do touch on some of that because everybody does have a little bit different background and experience, especially like Robert worked. Paul, I think, still does work, I believe, up in Canada, but that's also different country, different issues, so different
Mhm.
different things. So that's cool. That'll be a great show to check out. All right, guys, I think that's about it. I know there might have been some other questions. The chat was kind of going fast for a while, and I was talking a lot, so sometimes it's hard to follow when I'm talking a lot.
Well,
um,
once again, the beauty of our people that come in and join us chat, it's hard to have your next thought and read all the comments and then have a thought about that. Um, as my wife and I, or I say to my wife all the time, I'm not a smart man. And I try to think, but usually nothing happens. So those two quotes are from Three Stooges and Forrest Gump. But it's just beautiful to see it. I love that I can't keep up on it because you guys are so awesome. And um, thank you so much for being you guys out there and following us and listening to us, Two Stooges.
Yeah, no, we do appreciate that definitely. So yeah, thank you guys wholeheartedly, and yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. This is why we do, for the community, for the chat, for everybody here. You know, that's what Live to Roll is all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, Bobby, again for hanging out with me and doing the show and putting some questions together. And we'll see you guys next week. Live to roll, everybody.
Live to roll.